Welcome to our presentation entitled Interdisciplinary Care, the Role of CYCs. This was created by Abby, Alyzah, Corin, and Nadia for the purpose of educating healthcare professionals in a hospital setting about what CYCs do and how we can benefit their team. We would be providing a printed handout with bullet points based on all the information discussed throughout the presentation to promote accessibility and to ensure people can review it after the presentation. On this slide, we would introduce the facilitators, review the agenda, and prompt participants to review their handout throughout the presentation. We would also transition into the icebreaker.
So after the agenda, we'd start off with the icebreaker to get everyone engaged and kind of get them to know each other a bit. The instructions are that they get into pairs or groups of 3, and the prompt is that you're stranded on a desert island, what will you bring? So we've given them 5 categories, 3 survival items, 3 foods, 3 movies or shows, 3 books, and 1 personal item. So they'll just take turns sharing their names, their professions, and their answers with each other.
Here we would begin the presentation by reviewing the learning objectives, which are provided on screen as well as in the handout.
So the first slide is going to just be a quick knowledge check, kind of over what people might know. So like, what is a CYC? What do we do? What do you think duty to report means, and the possible roles and responsibilities that CYCs may have in a hospital setting. After that, we're going to go into our scope of practice. The first slide is just going to give a quick explanation about who we are, and then listing a few places about where we work. The next slide goes into a bit more about what we do in terms of support, resources, counseling, client progress, and just kind of gives a quick explanation about what duty to report is. Following that is going to be what we as CYCPs value, and there's a QR code that will allow people to go into a live cloud link where they can compare their professional values to CYCs, and following we'll talk about some of the values that CYCs have, like empowerment, advocacy, diversity and inclusion, and individualization, and kind of give a short description about what those look like. And the last part of this is some common myths and misconceptions. So just kind of talk about the kind of ideas that most people have about CYCs that aren't true.
These are some important terms that really shape how we work with children, youth, and their families. Understanding these ideas help us support them in meaningful and effective ways. So we have Meal Therapy. This is about creating a safe and structured environment where children and youth can learn and grow. It uses daily routines and real-life activities to help them practice social skills, build healthy habits, and feel supported in a community setting. Evidence-based, which means we use strategies that have been tested and shown to work. It's not guessing, it's rather choosing methods that truly help. This allows us to support each child and family based on what research and real-life practice show is effective. Next is trauma-informed. This means recognizing that a child's reactions or behavior may come from something painful they've experienced. Instead of asking what's wrong with you, we think, what happened to you? We respond with patience, safety, and understanding so they can feel supported and begin to heal. Next is strength-based, which focuses on what children and youth are good at, their interests, talents, and positive qualities. By building on their strengths, we help them gain confidence and see that they are capable of overcoming challenges. You may also check out the video linked to this slide on identifying strengths. We have Life Space. This is all about being there with children and youth in the moments that matter, whether it's during a tough moment, a routine task, or a small success. As CYCs, we support them right where things are happening, using everyday life as a chance to teach, guide, and connect. Next is relational practice. This is about the power of relationships. We build trust, share experiences, and learn together with children, families, and communities. Through these connections, we create safety, understanding, and real opportunities for growth. These ideas guide us in supporting children, youth, and their families in a caring and effective way, so we can build stronger connections and make a positive differences as CYC.
Under approach to counseling, the first thing we'd be covering is the characteristics of the CYC approach. So I'm introducing the being, interpreting, and doing model. I've included a visual of it on the slide. I basically just explain what those terms mean, and I provide one example of each. So what hanging out looks like when we're being in relationship, why understanding the role of family is important for interpreting experiences, and how we do with the young person instead of for them or to them, and the purpose of these practices. I also provide a link to the full PDF on the slide and in the handout for those who want to check it out. So the next topic is trauma-informed care, and here I basically just emphasize the shift in perspective from asking what's wrong with you to what happened to you. I talk about the impact of trauma on a child's development, specifically the nervous system, and then I have a video on the slide about adverse childhood experiences, and I'd explain what's happening internally when the nervous system is activated and how you can respond effectively. On the next slide, I'm explaining how to reset the nervous system through the 5 R's, which is a framework by Dr. Bruce Perry, and the purpose of each intervention. I also highlight Bruce Perry's book with Oprah for further learning. I've included a picture of it on the slide, and there is also a link to the free audiobook in the handout. I'd also ask everyone to refer to the handout to see my infographic about therapeutic activities that relate to the 5 R's. Onto the holistic approach, I would explain what it is and how it informs our work. I would touch on specific concepts like the 7 pillars of wellness and the mind-body connection, and how educating young people about these things is beneficial. I'd mention the ecological systems model, name the systems, and explain its purpose, and I have a video linked about it in the handout. In the final slide under this topic, I discuss cultural and human diversity and provide examples on how to be respectful, accepting, and inclusive, and how to celebrate diversity. I'd raise awareness around intersectionality, recognizing personal biases, and the importance of culture as part of treatment for young people.
In this final section, we would discuss interprofessional relationships between CYCs and other professionals in a hospital setting. We would prompt participants to consider how a CYC might support them and their work. On the next slide, we would provide specific examples about how we would support different members of the team. This includes doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, social workers, clients, and their families.
So for a final review, we've summarized the presentation in a few main points on this slide, basically just highlighting what CYCs do and how we do it, which includes some values, approaches, and a focus on therapeutic relationships. So to check everyone's learning, we chose to do a mind map for a more hands-on and interactive approach, trying to appeal to different learning styles. They would split up into groups and be assigned a topic, so that could be CYC scope of practice, key terms and definitions, CYC approach to counseling, or interprofessional relationships. Ideally, they'd be given chart paper and markers to create a mind map where they would write and draw their major takeaways and any connections that they've made to their practice, and then each group would share what they've learned.
At this point, we would field any further questions before asking participants to fill out our participant feedback survey. On the screen, we will provide a QR code which brings them to a Google form, or they can fill out the physical copy at the end of their handout.